Push past 10 Nation, come on in. Post a message, let us know that you're here. Check in. Simone Matthew here. And today we are joined by Mr. Hector Spags John. As you would have known, yesterday during the peace walk in Dominica, his sister was arrested. So, of course, we as Dominicans, as one family, we're all very concerned about what transpired yesterday. So come on in, share the live, let everyone know that we are here, because this is what this platform is about. This platform is about coming together to share our concerns. We come here to celebrate and promote Dominica, but we also use this platform to air our concerns and the level of interference with the police during these peaceful walks has certainly been a concern for many of us as Dominicans. So today, again, we are joined by Mr. Hector Spags John, whose sister was arrested yesterday during the peaceful Wednesday walk. So let us bring him in so he can tell us about what transpired yesterday. Hector, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me. Thank you to your platform for giving me that opportunity to share on what transpired yesterday, and also to connect with some of our brothers and sisters, and going forward, and how we can help to address some of the concerns that we have in Dominica right now, some real serious concerns in terms of our democracy, and that is important. So I once again thank you for allowing me to be on the platform today.
Yes, and thank you so much. And of course, our first question is, how is your sister doing?
She's doing great. She's in high spirits. She's a person that is always positive. She said that while she was locked up for the 6 hours, she was just singing songs of praise and having a conversation with the other guys on the other side in locked up that was hearing her. So she was having some productive dialogue with them, in terms of bettering their lives and what to stand up for, and why it is important that we as Dominicans should understand know our rights as citizens, and why a thriving democracy is important for each and every one of us.
Yes,
So
and I
she's in
heard
the
her,
streets. Yeah.
yeah, and I heard her on the radio this morning.
Yes.
And it seems like she's quite a formidable young lady. She's sounding strong. She's in good spirits, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
But she unfortunately could not divulge a lot of information about what transpired yesterday. So, as far as you know, Hector, were you actually at the walk yesterday?
I got into town while they were just preparing to leave to walk. I was looking for parking.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I got parking, somebody called me and told me, look, they pick up your sister, just
Okay.
like that, and they brought her to police station. So that was about quarter to 22, quarter to 11 yesterday
Okay, so,
morning.
so for those who are less familiar with the peaceful walks in Dominica, this is something that has been going on for the last 20 something weeks,
Yeah,
where a
24
group
weeks.
of
Next week will be the 25th, so the 24th week. Yeah, yesterday was the 24th week.
So
Yeah.
24 weeks, and it's just a group of concerned Dominicans who are walking for peace, justice, prosperity, walking against child abuse. So just kind of walking against the ails that seem to afflict our society. And these people have met with, many times insurmountable challenges, being blocked from walking on certain roads, having their pictures taken as in, we can use this as evidence against you, having sermons being sent to them because allegedly they're breaking the law. So Hector, since you were not there yesterday, kind of just tell us what you know about what transpired yesterday.
Since that is a matter before the court, I will try to limit my discussion on some of it. But I just know that you were walking and there was a barricade somewhere on Independence Street and Kennedy Avenue, just to around Burton's and Company right there. So it's in that vicinity it happened. And the police, what I'm hearing, that the barricade was pushed on them and they pushed it back on the police, and the police collared her, and that's where it started. But as to the details of it and everything, and she was dragged to the police station. She was not allowed to walk or let a woman police officer handle her and whatnot, and that's some of the concerns that we had, and she was left in there for 6 hours for they said it was for battery. You arrested her, and then no one could find the arresting officer, so they could have addressed that matter within an hour or two. But it stayed until 6 hours, and she was given station bail. They didn't allow it to go to the court and whatnot, and so she has to appear in court on Friday. And interestingly, about the station bail, that they didn't want it to go into the nighttime because people were getting very agitated, disrespected, frustrated. And I think that is the modus operandi of the police right now. And it's very disappointing. As a citizen, I have been arrested already as well. And my sister and I were cut from the same cloth. We stand for what we believe in, in terms of fighting for Dominica. My sister was in the US, she came back down. And I've been there. And my other siblings tell me, well, I'm not moving to the US, leave Dominicans alone. But everything that I have, I got it in Dominica. And my parents work hard here in Dominica and survive. So why can I make it here and survive? I'm trying to create the enabling environment for the Dominicans. So I don't see myself as we shouldn't see each other as that color or this color. We should see each other as Dominicans. And that's what the police officer as well. We should see him as a Dominican. He should see us as a Dominican. His role is to protect and serve, not to serve a master, but to serve the entire Dominican population. And yesterday, I think it went over and beyond in terms of he ensuring that he was protecting and serving. But he instead handled my sister, and that didn't went on well with me and the other members of our family. Of my family and friends, the community of Dominica as well, the working community, the workers who have been working you said about the frustration and harassing and intimidation. And I think if the police would just take a step back and reflect, if we allow the people to walk, give them the space to walk, maybe would have been addressing that situation long time. But they would have stopped long time.
Mm-hmm. No, I think an important concern that you raised, Hector, is the fact that she was almost manhandled by the police, and the concern that maybe a female police officer should have been available because, of course, your sister is a female.
Right, and I heard that the police woman was there, but two other police officers, the one had the handle and somebody else brought her up, and she's not a common criminal. She does have allowed her to walk with them, right with them, and I know she would. I know in my sister is not a troublemaker. Mm-hmm. My sister would not hit a fly. She raised two lovely children. I'm a baby brother. She's my baby sister, but I'm a baby brother. I'm after her. So we had that type of relationship. Mm-hmm. But in the family as well, we were raised to speak our mind. Our parents never taught us to be afraid to speak our mind or to express ourselves or to say what we believe in. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm an advocate for good, open, and transparent government. Some people might see me as a rebel, but sometimes you have to be a rebel to get your message across. Mm-hmm. You have to, when we're in parliament, you have 7 of us in parliament and 24 or they of the government side, and they will not allow us to speak. When we were elected to go in there and speak, and it goes back to what is happening on the ground with the police and how other people in the communities who want to speak and express themselves, they're afraid because they're intimidated. They have challenges. They might be supporters of the Labour Party and afraid to speak of what is happening to them and what is happening to our country. And that is why yesterday opened the eyes of I got calls from senior police officers. I got calls from lawyers. I got calls from advocates.
Now, what are they saying to you?
What they're saying, it is going too far. What is happening right now is going too far. You arrested all the members of parliament on the opposition side. Almost each and every one of us got, even the Freedom Party, got a summons or arrested or there are some others now who got summons just for walking. Mm-hmm. But no, you're getting these people there incensed, you're driving them to anger, and now you're creating an atmosphere that is tense. People on the edge, people react. But if you create, as a police officer, you should be able to have a dialogue with your citizens. If people are doing wrong, try to get them on the right side, or if you have to be arrested or charged, I have no problem with that. But you shouldn't be the instigator. You should be protecting and
Yeah,
saving.
and I think it raises an important concern, Hector, and thank you again for joining us. And we want to thank everyone who's on the Facebook Live. Marilyn Alcindor, one day they will pay for this foolishness. Marilyn also says the police are not for the citizens and they're going to regret it. Clyde Gregoire, great to see you. The police needs to stop the confrontation with people. This is a very common problem and needs to be looked at seriously. And Peter Thomas, thank you for being here. So everyone come on in, post a message, share the live, let everyone know that we're here. And Hector, Marilyn brings up a very important point, which is where I was going next. Because, I think many Dominicans are getting the sense that the police is against them. Because when, for example, you're limited in terms of the roads that you can traverse on a Wednesday, because remember, when you block the roads, you're not just blocking it from the peace walkers. You're blocking it for the common citizen. And then when you see the police block off a particular road that leads to a particular business because the walkers were protesting outside of the business, what is the message that the police is sending to the citizens?
And that is a serious. Yesterday, I experienced that on several fronts because they blocked all the roads coming around the police headquarters. So you have Digicel main office is on that street right there on Bath Road, in the intersection of Bath Road and Cox Street. You have so employees of Digicel, they were blocked and had to park by the PSU building and walk down Boys Avenue, and they were just asking to just go through to carry some stuff that they have on the vehicle, and they were prevented. They had to park the vehicle outside and carry it. It was ridiculous that people, another young lady that working DABs or DBs was walking through the police area, police headquarters area, that they were allowing people to walk through to go, and if they were to go into some business, and she was manhandled by a police officer. And so, and you're hearing the talk around roads of people frustrated, they're not going to get some things done, and they cannot pass. They got to go to the financial center. That's where you have a lot of the business being done. People go to the financial center and do, and the business employees and whatnot, and people prevented from going to the financial center. And you had blockages all over the place. So that is the challenge that you have. It is frustrating, not only frustrating the workers, but also frustrating citizens who want to do their business. Also hampering business in some of the business places where, because they are blocked in, nobody can go in there and do business. So they may be losing monies during that time as well. So when you lock up the place for 6-7 hours, what is the benefit? No parking is a problem. Russo, you cannot park here, but no parking area. So it's just a total mess, total challenge. And I think the police should rethink that. I think the police should be big enough to call the organizers as well and say, let us have a dialogue.
Absolutely.
You walk in on Wednesdays, we will walk with you, provide security, so there will not be any trouble going through the areas you want to go through. You walk through, and we will escort you. That should be the role of the police. So you will avoiding them clashing with anybody else, and you also allow they will walk fast. They will walk or go about the mission and stop blocking or not blocking any area. You will provide that level of support to the workers and also protection, and it also help things run smooth. But instead of blocking the road, if the workers in an area and people want to pass, you just ask the blockers and the workers, so please just go on the side of the road, allow that vehicle to go through, and that will make things easier. But it's creating the walking is creating a problem for the government. The awareness, it's bringing awareness to the people. We will begin to ask, what is going on? Why people walking every Wednesday? What are the challenges? Why the government is not responding to some of the concerns that they're raising? Child abuse, domestic violence, infant mortality, or the increase of death at the hospital. Our problem for democracy, the electoral reform. And these are concerns, genuine concerns that Dominicans have. Agriculture, markets for farmers, unemployment, the drug situation, a lot of young men on the street now, how are we going to, as citizens, work together to ensure that we try to solve this problem or curb them? But the police has a very important role to play in that. Community policing. When I was directly involved with the National Youth Council in the 90s, there was a POID, I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but there was a police youth group, and but they were doing community policing. The police was working with the community. So a police officer would come to a community and get assistance to help solve a problem. Right now, you don't get young people working in the police. You don't get citizens working in the police because they've been harassed, been frustrated, been intimidated by the police. You have a young man, a gentleman from Granby recently saying that police has visited his homes 4 times, harassing he and his wife. I'm not saying there might not be a genuine concern or problem, but sit down with the gentleman, have a dialogue with him, let him know what's going on, that even though he's your son or whoever is involved in illegal activities, and he might be harboring whatever in your home or whatnot. If you don't want us to come back to your home, speak to your son and see how we can solve that problem. There are different ways to deal with situations like that. But instead to go to the man home 4 in the morning and harass him at that age, an elderly in his 80s, and his wife. So these are the type of things you want the police to begin to want, and the community as well. I do not want anybody to break the law, but I want their rights to be respected. And that is what we all should strive for, to ensure that we have working organs in the country. The courts is working, the electoral system is working, everything is working, democracy is striving, that you have that all cylinders working, well oiled, you will have a system that is thriving.
Yeah, and you know, Hector, I'm happy you mentioned that, because actually on my next Roots Connection program on Q95 next week, that is what we're looking at. How is, you know, the potential for best practices in law enforcement? What happens when the law is allowed to practice without the external pressures that seem to be placed on it? Because if you have someone barricading someone else's business, the police barricading somebody's business, that is clearly a mandate that is coming from the government.
Right.
Because an average citizen like me or you cannot simply call the police and say, hey, I don't like the fact that the peace walkers are walking on my streets, like you created a street in Dominica. So I would like for you to come and prevent them. An average citizen cannot do that. And then if you think about it, Hector, and again, everyone on the Facebook Live, thank you for being here. We will come over for your comments in a little while. If you think about it, Hector, right? The average person looking from the outside looking in, if the barricades were not there and the folks were allowed to simply walk the streets, none of this would happen.
Nothing.
Because they would walk the streets, they would do their singing, their chanting, their praying, and they would go on their merry way.
And they would, as you see,
creating a problem.
Right, but as you see in other democracies, in other countries, that people are walking, protesting, and they're being protected by the police.
Yes.
Not with ammunition, police, plainclothes officers. The presence are there, so people know that the police are there to protect and serve. Those who are walking can walk freely, chant, express themselves within the confine of the Constitution. But now you're aggravating the situation, and you're getting people vexed. You're getting them, you're going to turn confrontational, and you also get physical. And we do not want that. We should allow people to express themselves. And that is what the country has become. And it's a sad situation where my dad told me some years ago that elections before was about 3 months, that we campaign, and after the election, who win, everybody, when the person is, they found out who win the election, which government, they form the government, everybody gets back together, who was working with each other or going to the farm doing kudme, everybody back together. But now we have that lingering political hate being pumped into citizens, that lingering political divide. On the radio, the narratives have not changed. The government is there for 22 years, and they have not said, okay, let me pull back on the narratives on the radio. But they have more radio programs blasting and pushing vile comments at citizens. I'm not saying that I'm a saint, but I'm saying that if the government begin to change the narrative, or begin to do what they need to do in terms of ensuring that we have employment for our young people, creating the enabling environment, the farmers get the type of technical and financial support that they deserve and not be victimized because of the color or the community that they came from. But when you have support from the World Bank and the EU for farmers, grant funding, and these funds do not reach the farmers who need it, or the fertilizer goes to shopkeepers and bus drivers for them to sell, that will aggravate farmers. That will have your community unstable. That will have people on edge. That will vex the farming community. That will vex the bus drivers. That will vex the other sectors of society, the different demographics. And that is why right now you have challenges at the hospital. Nobody's talking about the amount of deaths, especially infant mortality rate. Nobody's talking about it. But we have a serious problem there. And these are things we need to address. And as you rightfully said, there are different sections in the country that needs to address the area, the situation or the sector. But the government tentacles is inside of these institutions, inside of the sectors. And that is why every institution of state has been undermined and compromised by the government. Why is that so? You know, the highest law court of the land is in Parliament. We're not given the time and the chance to express ourselves as parliamentarians and to speak up to the issues of our communities. We're being muzzled. And these are the challenges that we have. And it is a vexing situation. It is an situation where people are too passive. I am saying that we are too passive. We take everything for granted. Let them fellows do what they want. No, it's our country. And that after 22 years of that, Doc, I am, as a citizen, I am here genuinely to make my contribution to, even before I was in politics, I was already contributing to the development of my country as a young community organizer, maybe started at the age of 13, always involved in my community, always involved. So getting into politics was a natural progression. You know, I was involved when Mr. Williams was out, Earl Williams doing his law degree. I was more or less the parent. People used to call, even Mr. Austri, the member of parliament for Cottage, used to call me, I'm deputy parent, because I would call him, he was the minister of communications and works at that time. And I would call him for assistance in getting sand to the community for us to do some patching on our roads, and he would have make it available. Right now, I'm a member of parliament, and I can't ask for nothing. You understand where it is right now.
Right. And let me ask you this, because I think many times I hear the comments, well, what difference is the walks making? You guys are just walking and it's not making a difference. But would you think that because of the walks and the energy that the walks have created, that is one of the reasons your sister was released within a couple of hours, unlike Thompson Fountain, who spent 2 days in the holding cell? Do you think that is the impact of the people? That is one of the reasons your sister was released within a few hours.
I think it's the main reason is that she's from Salisbury. Because we'll not let her get into the nighttime. She would not have slept in the cell. I know that. They would have some things they would have to deal with. I'm not speaking about being violent, but we know that she didn't do anything, and it's not to say it's a criminal offense or something. It's just, as you said, battery. A matter that should be dealt with within an hour. Also, do your processing or whatever you have to do, and to keep her there for 6 hours. It shows that I think there was a level of fear. There's a level of fear going on with the government. It is filtered down for the police force to act against the best interests as the police force of the state and not the police force of the government and the prime minister. And that's something we have to work on as well as citizens, knowing the institutions of the state belong to the citizens of the state, not to any government. The Labour Party is the majority in government. because we are part of the legislature as well, the opposition. They have the coffers of the state. But the police is not serving the government. The police is serving the state. And that is where we should begin to understand our roles. Who am I serving? As the government members, as member of parliament for Salisbury, who am I serving? I am first serving, even though I got elected through the United Workers' Party and being parliamentary opposition, part of the parliamentary opposition. I am serving the community of Salisbury, Coalition, and Monarchy. That is why I got elected, even though I'm a member of the United Workers' Party. But my role, my official role, is the member of parliament for Salisbury, Coalition, and Monarchy. And I have to ensure that I play that role in that capacity. And the police has a role to protect and serve. My sister is part of the Wednesday Workers. My sister is an advocate. She's an activist. She has a role to play. In every democracy has people playing their roles. She has to play her role within the confine of the law. She's doing that. You as a police officer should be able to be diplomatic and try not to create any unnecessaries by aggravating a situation that is already on edge. And I think that is what is lacking in the police force. The police officers that we had 20 and 30 years ago would never do that. They would not even listen to the dictates of a politician. They would ensure that they serve within their capacity as police officer, as prescribed by the police officers' laws, the Constitution of Dominica, the different ordinances, that they play their role as police officers in the interest of every citizen, not just the president or the prime minister or the ministers of government, but every citizen, even the Joe Bloke, the drug dealer, the drug addict, and the mentally ill and homeless. They have their role to play as citizens, as officers of the state, to protect and serve every citizen. And that's where we have lost it. And I'm hoping that, Doc, that conversation of seeing Dominica first would appeal to every citizen, and we begin to act as Dominicans, not stop moving the collar. We should begin to remove the collar, the party, the community where you're from. The stigmatization we should end it. Stop stigmatizing anybody or putting them in a group. But the group we should first see, we are Dominicans. We would like to see Dominica. Doc, if you're from Portsmouth and I am from Capuchin, both of us going to Roseau, but you say, I'll take my vehicle and I want to go to Roseau. I will go to Roseau through Marigot, through Bells, and through Poncassi, and into Roseau. I might say, we'll use the Oliver Libler Highway, but we both are going to Roseau. But for you to go to Roseau, you might say, but I want to stop to Marigot to get a breadfruit. That is where you want to go to, but we are going to Roseau. And that's why it is different. We all want to see Dominica in a better place. We will have different ways and means to get there. But there's things that should be done within the confines of the laws of Dominica, and it's not being done. So people will always retaliate, will revolt, will have a problem in those situations. And that's why you will have the room and the opening. That's why the provision was made for protesting, to gather, to speak your mind, to express yourself. That is in the Constitution of Dominica. Every citizen has a right to speak their mind and to express themselves. And these are the challenges that we have. And it is sad where we are in 2022, where we should be able as citizens to express ourselves freely within the confine of the laws of Dominica and not be harassed by police officers being directed by the politicians, by the government.
Yeah, and I think it begs an important question as well, Hector, in terms of, well, did the police know that she was your sister? Because considering all the opposition and, everything else you guys have experienced as the opposition United Workers' Party, it does beg the question. And Dominica is a small community, is a small place. Everyone knows everyone. So it begs the question, do you believe that this particular situation came about because they know, or it was one of the reasons was because they know that she's your sister.
And that this is one of the discussions we're having, because what since the work started, they began taking pictures of the workers and begin to get to identify the names, where they come from, who they related to. And so they had that data. I'm finding out by speaking with one of the individuals in there who was giving me some information yesterday. So they know most of the individuals. I am not sure if that was coincident or it was something that transpired. We get trying to get more information on it, but it's a situation we have to look at. People being targeted, and something as well that the target is to see how they can neutralize some of the workers, neutralize some of the individuals who were involved. The people around Mr. Fatton Martin. This was my second time going to the work. I will not lie
Coincidentally.
about it. I am not like I will not lie about it. I'm a revolutionary. I'm an action individual. I like to see things done. I am part of a political party that I respect, so I fall in line. So I prefer to stay home. That's why some time ago I stopped hosting our radio program, but I started back. I'll be on tonight because Mr. Lambert Charles is not doing well, and that was one of the reasons. I love to talk, but sometimes you have to curtail the talk and act. And I believe that Dominicans, we are speaking a lot now. We know the issues. United Workers Party and other parties, the Freedom Party, other pressure groups, CCM, and all the other pressure groups over the years have been speaking to the issues, the concerns where we are. Our political party has raised all the concerns and things we can do better to move our country forward. And we are not given the opportunity because of the failure to have electoral reform, and we're hoping that we can get electoral reform before the next election, because the country needs to breathe, the country needs to turn, the country needs to exhale, the country needs fresh leadership, new guidance. I used that example yesterday. St. Lucia, for the past 6 election cycles, they have changed the government in St. Lucia, and see what happens. They have 17 seats. And nobody has won by a minority or a slight majority. No one. You never hear that the Labour Party or UWP in St. Lucia won by 10 seats or by 9 seats. It's 11, 12, 15. Because the people, they're letting the governments know, the leaders know that you don't own our country.
Right.
We vote you in. And every 5 years, if you see St. Lucia, we have Dominicans moving to St. Lucia to work, and these are type of things we have to look at. But the bottom line of it, Doc, is the if you have a working, thriving democracy, you will have a working, thriving economy, because the government that is there will work in the interest of the people, work with the people, and ensure that they're independent, they're self-dependent, ensure that they get markets for them, ensure that our young people who go to study, when government make commitments to pay these universities, they get paid, and our students will not be frustrated in overseas. These are the type of things we would like to see a government do, to ensure that we have markets, we have a cash crop, we have our people at work, not just being in NAP for 8 years and not be able to go to the bank to get a loan. I worked for 11 years. By the time I had 11 years working at DBMC, I'd purchased land and built my house already. But the young people don't have anything because they cannot face the bank. They have got a steady job. They have got a fixed job where they can have appointed by the government or in the private sector, where they can face the bank and say, look, I get my salary every month. I can pay for that.
Yeah, and we're seeing the implications, because First Caribbean Bank is closing shop in January. Because there's no business for First Caribbean Bank, at least not in the mortgage industry.
Right, it's my bank. That's why I took my mortgage 2002. I took my mortgage, right? Right now I have, and it's at that bank. Now I have to transfer, I have to go to another institution. because
Wow.
they are leaving.
Mhm.
But it's going to affect our correspondent banking.
Yep.
We only are going to have our national bank, the Republic Bank of Trinidad and Tobago, and our credit unions.
Mhm.
Because the government built spent how many millions of dollars? They said maybe $300 million on housing, building apartments all around the country. We never took loans from these banks. The people that they give houses still cannot take loans, but because most of them are not employed. They do not own these properties, trying to go to the bank and take a loan and build something else because none of them have title for the small houses, none of them have title for shorter titles for the apartments. So these banks are not savings alone cannot move an institution. They make the interest when you take loans. Nobody's taking loans. A few civil public officers taking loans and private people in the private sector. But on a national level, people were given apartments. And we're not saying, I'm happy that some of them get apartments, but there should be a way where they pay something for these apartments. When you had the housing development by the Labour Party of Patrick John, the housing development by the Freedom Party of Mary Virginia Charles, the housing development by the United Workers Party of Edison James. People took loans. They were low-cost housing. But these people took loans and they paid the loans, even if it's 20 years or whatever. But they paid out the loan. Now they have the titles in their hand. They own these properties.
Yeah, and a child of the Patrick John housing scheme, which I am. That is how it was done. We
Right.
got a house, but we also got a mortgage.
Right. Even though it's 300 you're paying or 200 you're paying, and then there's a program called Rent to Own.
Yep, and they're implementing that in one of the Caribbean islands. I just heard it on the news recently.
Right. So if you put them in the apartment, say, okay, it's only 100 you can pay that $100, but at the end of 20 years, pay $100 a month, but then 20 years or 10 years, whatever, we'll give you a shorter title. That is a proper, that you own that, and you will pass it on to your children. Right now, if somebody passed away in that property, in these apartments, they give it to somebody else. Or if you did not like you in that apartment or they remove you, somebody else get the apartment. And it's not supposed to be like that. There's some people who have their own land. If you give them maybe $60,000 or you have them build a 2-bedroom house on their property, they own it. That is their land. You might only pay $100,000 or $120,000 to do that. That individual own that property. Now you say you spent 200 or 400, 300,000 to build a 2-bedroom apartment for somebody, which is ridiculous. But that the person does not own that. And they borrowed time. Now some of them are having central issues in terms of the raw sewage, the lighting, floodings, a lot of things happening there. Some of the people they have in these apartments are people who are well off. Who can have their own property, who can rent their own houses and build their own houses. And not people who really in need. And these are the type of situations that I'm hoping that when the housing department or the housing division do the evaluations that they started somewhere in Sansove, that they will ensure that the people who are in these apartments are people who really need. But also, you want these people to have some work to do.
Yep.
So pay their mortgage, their light bills. So it is very difficult, the water bills in these apartment buildings. So the situation is very grave, and it all goes back to a thriving democracy, a strong police force, a strong government, strong institution of state. That is what you like to see happen. And that's what my sister and the workers with Afimate would like to see happen on a regular. That's what we like to see in the country. I worked in the banana industry for 16 years, Doc. And in the 16 years, I see men and women who couldn't read and write raise their children, build homes, change their vehicles every 2 years. I saw that. Not nobody tell me, because there are farmers who come there and would make trouble with me for putting a wrong code, and when they find out that they didn't have the code correctly, or they put somebody else's code because they couldn't read and write. But we treat them as low-class citizens. We treated them as farmers who had the agriculture as 85% of our GDP. That's the role they played. They were making money and sending their children to school. These children would not have to gravitate to the urban and suburban area like the Fonkoles and the stock farms and the Yampies, putting added pressure on the small communities, and the Dailies and Laplanes and Cassibrus and Calibishis are empty because they can't find employment. And the lands are abandoned. The lands are still there. How do we get them, these young people back into agriculture, make agriculture sexy again? Give them the technical and financial support to go back to the field. Do not get support for them and take the support and divert it to something else or get to somebody else. Ensure that these farmers gain the confidence of the leadership of the state, the Ministry of Agriculture, the other ministries, line ministries, to assist them, the fishermen, to ensure that they're productive and not getting funding for the fisher folks, for the farmers, and they're going elsewhere, getting funding for housing and people who are not in need of housing, getting it for those in need. These are the challenges we are facing. And that is why I commend the workers, I commend the advocates. I mean, Doc, I have been burned, fried, everything. I've been through the fire for the past 13 years. I've been in elective politics. People don't know the type of sacrifices some of us are making. Honorable Lennox Linton, Danny Lugie, and the other members of United Workers' Party. It's a lot. My salary now, Doc, is $2,010 plus allowances, making $2,700. I was getting that 25 years ago in the BMC.
Wow. Wait, repeat that. You were getting that, what, 25 years ago?
As an employee at the BMC, the Dominica Banana Marketing Corporation. So it was about the money I would back in the US already. It's not about the money.
Right.
It's about making a genuine contribution towards the development of our country, putting our country in the right hands, putting our country in the right direction, creating opportunities for our young men and women who are just languishing on the roadside. They have young men and women who are in their 30s and still at their parents' home.
Yep.
My dad told me by the time you're 16, 17, that you had to leave home. Because you're already working and you have to employ yourself. But parents, happy the children were with them. They will not want the children anywhere else, but they would like to see the children grow. They would like to see the children go to work and come back home and say, Dad, I will pay the light bill or the cable bill.
Right.
And your dad will say, you can send the house, just save your money for you to buy something, buy a piece of land, build a house. I want you to be empowered as well. Or save your money so you could go out to further your studies and I will assist. But right now, the government giving you promissory notes that are empty. And you are at Midwestern State University or elsewhere, and your tuition at Monroe College in New York and your tuitions are not being paid. These are the sad realities we are faced with.
Right, and it just means that there's a lot of reasons that the workers walk every Wednesday, because you've done an incredible job of kind of just outlining many of the concerns on the ground, and not everyone can, leave Dominica. Some people have to stay back and fight the fight, and some of us have to go out to create the opportunities that are lacking in the country. But I think the most important thing that you mentioned, Spags, and I know you have a long day, so we're going to wrap up in a little bit, but I think the most important point that you mentioned in terms of how the police is dealing with the workers is that community policing. Because when the citizens see how you deal with the common folk on the ground, and then you have an investigation and you're looking to the same citizens to assist you, what are the implications for police communities? So I want you to comment on that. But before we do, I want to make sure we take the comments on the Facebook Live before we wrap up. So let me just grab a few comments and then you can answer that question, and then we will wrap up in a little bit. So let's see. Peter Thomas, good morning. Merlin, good morning. Peter Thomas also says Dominicans need to take to the streets in large numbers. There is no way the jail cell can accommodate 10,000 people. And he also says this nonsense democracy is under serious threat. Anthony Simon, always great to see you. Answers about the missing 12-year-old Kanisha Etienne. So instead of spending time harassing the peace walkers, maybe more time and resources should go into important cases like Kanisha Etienne and all the unsolved murders in Dominica. Peter Thomas also says so many pedophiles roaming the streets of Roseau. Why can't the police department address the situation? Alyssa Irish, great to see you. Morning, the mayor has joined the convo. Nice to see you, Alyssa. Dominic Thomas, what is going on? I'm Dominic. We're talking to Spags John, and he's telling us about the arrest of his sister. Thank you for joining us, Dominic. Hi, Spags. It was nice meeting you. Henrietta is watching from Florida. Let's take some comments we haven't taken from other folks. Simeon Joseph, great to see you. Very good point, Spags. The real grassroots man of reason and common sense. Let them think they can play with you. So everyone on the Facebook Live, thank you for being here. I see we have quite an audience. I see Polo is here. Nice to see you. Omar Mornell, Indigenous Bushman. Great to see you. So thank you everyone for being here and thank you for your contribution. Daryl Hector is here. Rosette Prince is here. So Spags, any comments you want to make on, let's see, Addison Esprit, Spags, I'm impressed. Any comments you want to make on the Facebook comments? And then let's kind of wrap up on the importance of community policing and the implications when a situation such as what we saw yesterday with the arrest of your sister comes about.
I just want to thank the Facebook viewers. I was called the Facebook power rep.
You're the Facebook power rep. I think that's a compliment.
Yeah, and the reason why to me it's a great compliment because I was 10 years ahead in terms of utilizing social media to get my message across. The reason why in 2008 I was in New York I was going to school during the election of Obama. Mm-hmm. And I understood I'm a major in IT, and I understood the use of the Facebook platforms to gain support for the young people, get them. So I started using Facebook a lot. Right now, I have a lot of junior ministers on the government side of below me. So I'm the minister of Facebook, the pioneer, and they're 10 years late to understand how to utilize Facebook, how to get a message across. But one concern that I have with some of our Facebook audience, some of them I message them in the inbox them and I respect them. Some of them do not know what you're doing on the ground or what is going on the ground. You might make a comment on Facebook, but they do not know the hard work that you are putting on the ground. I am one of the paragraphs that is nobody in my constituency say they doesn't see me or they haven't got access to me. I always make myself available, and not only to my constituents, but everybody else. If I know of a farmer that was close to me while I work in the industry from Kalibishi, and I can go to his funeral, I will go to his funeral. Or if I'm in La Plaine and there's a friend of mine that is ill, I'll pass to go to see them. That's me. Mr. Ivor Stevenson was the parrot for Grand Fond, and he fell ill in March, somewhere 2017, May 2017. And when I'm in the East, I will pass to see him, even though he was on the government side. And that is a type of narrative. That is the type of things we like to see people see us with the others, like Kent Edwards, and I took a picture. And it went during the cricket and it went viral. Ian Douglas and I took a picture as well sometime at my nephew's cousin's wedding, and it went viral. I have nothing against them personally. They on the other side. But I will stand my ground on this side. And I am standing on the side of Dominica. I am 100% Dominican. I am a patriot at heart. Everybody that know that song, I don't know if you know that song, Leve Dominique. I wrote that song.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
That very patriotic song. It start playing its Independence time very soon. You'll hear it on the radio 24/7. I wrote that song. Mm-hmm. And that is what I want people to understand, that we all have a role to play in terms of the development of our country. Addison Esprit, make agriculture sexy again. Nailed it with me. This one, yeah, it is, because you have technology at your fingertips. Every young person has a cell phone. You have hydroponics. You have greenhouses. Let these young people get involved in these things. They have the land. rent the land for them, list the land. Some of them have the parents have their land, but we do not want to create that avenue. Right now in Salisbury, we are thinking of purchasing our own boat, and that is the new. We're looking at 100 foot to 120 feet boat with about 2 refrigerated reefers on board. So we're looking at that as a community to purchase. We're trying to get some land. The state is giving us some land, young people some land, 90 acres of land on the Southern York area. Very soon we will get that organized. But we want to get the young people back in producing. There's a lot of young farmers in Salisbury. And not in Salisbury alone. I commend the young women in the Mount Prosper area, the farmers in Lap, all around the country. I commend them. Our problem is market. And we don't have the government promised 2 boats since 2015. We are not getting that. So these are the type of things we like to see happen in our country for our young people. Give them that opportunity. If they want to be entrepreneurs, if they want to further their education, give them an opportunity. But if they also want to go back and work the land, and you can be a farmer, a commercial farmer. You know, there are farmers in Dominica like D.L.S. Warrington, Cuthbert Vidal, Hilary Shillingford, and I can go on and call names of farmers who are making it, but still they have the challenge with markets right now. You know, and we need to have this discussion. We need to have this type of discussion instead of destroying the fabric of our society. You know, instead of having our young people begging. What $500 can do for a young person in NEP a month? I'm telling you, I tell you my salary, $2,700. I was 25 years ago. So you know things about it. So my salary now as a member of parliament in Dominica is $1,000 US a month.
Wow.
That's my take home pay. So when people believe that I'm making that money and I can go back to the US and maybe make that in a few days.
Absolutely, in a week.
Right.
As an IT professional with a degree.
Right. You know, and these are the type of things you like to see happen in your country. But I'm here. I'm here for the long haul, as long as the Lord give me the strength. I'm here to fight on behalf of my country. And to close with community policing, I also want to bring back the police force one step back. I just wanted to take a breather. Look at what you're dealing with, what you're creating. Because you as a police officer, we're a small community. You as a police officer, you were police before you joined the force. You live in a community, you're a citizen. When you leave the force, you'll be a citizen again. How you deal with people while you're a police officer, that's how they're going to deal with you when you leave the force.
And your children.
And your children. So you have children, you have wives, you have sisters, you have brothers. The communities are small. Know how you deal with people. Be more accommodating. Be more compassionate. Be more respectful. Be more diplomatic. Be more community oriented. Say, I'm taking the police force. I played cricket against the police force. I used to go to the canteen to lunch and play dominoes with the police officers. That was community policing. The police can say, let us go to Dublin and play football this weekend. Or we call the people of Calibishi and say, we can play some softball cricket with you. And pay a softball league, just play from a team. Recently, we have an ongoing football league in the Bowie Football League. This weekend is the game for the 3rd place, and next weekend is the finals. I met a couple of police officers and I told them, next round of the league, join the league with a police team. Build a relationship with the community, and the community will build a relationship with you. If you do that across Dominica, you will understand where we are. Brian Linton, as I close, Brian Linton called the hot seat this morning, raised a very important point, and I experienced it a while ago, earlier on when I came, and I said, but Brian Linton was looking at me, man. So he said that they're police officers who have to bomb right to go to do their work, and they're people who have GA vehicles driving around. I came on the bus stop just across, not the bus stop, the intersection to come to my yard. And the police officer from the Salisbury police station was waiting for a ride to go to court in St. Joseph.
Wow.
But there are GAs everywhere at any time. There are citizens who are not working in the public sector, in the public sector, who has GA driving, government vehicles driving, and the police force, the police officers can get vehicles to do their work. So you see what I do right there? I'm showing you when the police do their work, I'm not against the police, but in return, I would like the police to respect me as a citizen, respect my rights, respect every citizen, respect my sister, respect Afi Martin, respect all the workers, respect Lennox Linton, Danny Luge, Ken Vital, Reginald Ostry, Roosevelt Skerritt, Melissa Popon, respect everybody. And we will have a country where that is more, as my good friend and cousin Ronnie Isidore would always say, let us get our country back to right order. And that's what we need to do right now.
Yes, and I want to thank you, Hector Spags John, for joining us today. I think you mentioned that your sister is due for court on Friday, so I hope that these charges are quickly done away with. And we've had some great comments. We want to thank everyone on Facebook. Mr. Gordon Henderson, thank you for your comment. Doc, you've squeezed the best out of Spags.
Thank you, Gordon. All the best in France.
Yes,
this is my brother.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Henderson. Yes, so again, thank you for being here with us, Spags, on Push Past 10 to tell us about the latest update with your sister. I hope that you will keep us posted. Of course, I am Simone Matthew. Don't forget to follow Push Past 10. Don't forget to click the notification button so you don't miss when we go live, because apparently we go live just about any time and day these days. So, Spags, I will give you the final comments and then we will let you go carry on with your busy day.
Yeah, Doc, I want to thank you for bringing me on your platform. I'm sweating. It's very hot here, and I didn't put the fan, nothing on. I just
I got mine by my foot.
It's hot. I think for the past couple of days, it has been hot. And Salisbury is a very relatively hot area, and I live above the sea, so I'm right there. So it's very hot. My sister lives up higher up the village, a place called La Savannah. And so right now, she told me she's in her backyard doing her backyard gardening.
Nice.
That's how we were taught. We were raised. I have a lot of things planted in my backyard as well. We do that to keep ourselves occupied and also to share with our neighbors as well. We were taught by our parents, never let anything waste at home. You know, if you have too much and it will waste, give your neighbor, give a friend. And so people come to my home, they take limes, they take whatever. Things is not to sell, things for yourself. They come and we share, you know, and that's what it's all about. And that's what I would like to see in our country. Get back to right order, a gentler society. And you creating that platform as well will encourage some of us to share that word, to go online, share the link with others, and we can continue to have that dialogue of respect, the dialogue of love for country. And I think right now during the independence season is the best time for us to show patronage to our country and what we'd like to see happen going forward. Government come and they go, but we want the government that is there at the time to respect our rights and to ensure that they do it working in the best interest of each and every Dominican. And you creating that platform for us is welcoming. It will encourage others to create more platforms, and the dialogue will continue. I just want those of us overseas, once again, to try to reach out and get more information before attacking some of us who are on the ground. Because a lot of us on the ground, you do not know what we're going through. If you know what people like myself has been through for the past couple of years, you'd understand. When you have your family telling you, Hector boy, people don't want to hear, pack up. I would have been much further if I was in the US in terms of what I was planning to do for myself, my personal development. But I have never regretted coming back to Dominican in 2009. I have never regretted it. And I continue to be, despite the challenges, the frustration, the intimidation, the victimization, I continue to push on. And that's why I love the name Push 10. I continue to push 10. I push it 10. And that's why all hands on deck. Appreciated.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Hector Spags, John, and please feel free to stop by to give us an update. We wish your sister nothing but the best. We know that she's in high spirits, and we want to encourage her to remain in high spirits because she has the support of Dominicans at home and abroad with her. Let us just take some final comments. Simeon says, "No, Gordon Henderson. Sometimes we underestimate people and never give them a chance. I know what Spags has to offer, and he has all that it takes. A turbulent heart, two sides to a coin, and you can't intimidate and not expect a reaction. We're trying to make a movie by intimidation, and that would be the grounds we would use to say no freedom, no peace, no democracy. We sit strategizing to war. He who creates his own drama deserves his own karma." Patricia Fontaine, I'm glad your sister is safe. Stay strong, my people. And Gordon Henderson, Simeon Joseph, he impressed me today. Well, Spags John impresses me every day. So again, Spags, thank you for joining us. Again, I am Simone Matthew. This is Push Past 10, and we are here to promote and celebrate Dominica, as well as offer a platform where we can air our grievances. We can have these important conversations about the things that impact us. And we see more people are coming in. Laura says, very impressive. Maslin Edwards, great to see you. Good morning. Logged in late, but we'll watch the live later. Peace to all the patriots. So guys, don't forget, share the live, share this message, so we can continue doing the great work that we do. So Spags, again, thank you.
Thank you. I'm humbled by your the opportunity. I'm humbled by the comments from our the viewers. That gives me the energy to move on
Yes.
every day. When I walk the street and an elderly folk tell me, or even a liberator come on the side and say, "Keep on going, Sparks. You're doing it for Dominica,"
Yes.
and that gives me the energy. And sometimes it's not all about the money, but also the satisfaction you bring to your citizens, Dominicans, the people that you serve, and the way they look at you and see you as a fighter in the true sense, not a fighter against them, but a fighter for them and with them. And that's what I'll remain. Thank you once again for the opportunity.
Yes, and you said it very well. We each have a role to play, so let us continue playing our role. Maslin, great to see you. Fidinia Carbon, good morning. So again, thank you, Spags, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Push 10.
Push
All
past
hands on
10.
deck. Oh, it's past 10. Oh, come back again. Repeat.
It's push past 10. It's my book.
Push past 10, but I said push 10. All hands on deck.
All hands on deck. I like it. Take
All
care.
right, take care.
All right. Thank you guys for being here. Take care.
All right.